everyone, it's Lindsay from the Little Homemade Shop, and I was just about to finish up an order today, and one of the items in there was a fitted crib sheet, and I thought that this would be a great video. It's something super easy to make, so pretty much any sewing level could make this fitted crib sheet. Things we're going to need. We're going to need 2 yards of fabric. We are going to need elastic, 2 jumbo-sized safety pins, and something to cut our fabric with. So I already have my 2 yards cut out here, and our next step is going to be to cut out an 8-inch square. So I have my fabric, as you can see, I have it folded in half, so the 2 yards are folded in half, and my 2 yard is folded on this side. So over here it's 2 open pieces, okay? So we're going to make our 8-inch square on the side that is not sewn, or that is not solid. So you're going to have all 4 of your corner pieces. We want to make sure we don't cut the square on the side that doesn't have all the corner pieces, because then you're going to have some funky squares that are not in the right place for your fitted sheet. So all single 4 corners, okay? And we're going to measure an 8-inch square. So I like to use my mat and rotary cutter because it's fast and easy for me, but you can use scissors and anything to measure. Okay, so just an 8-inch square. Now I use this particular print in a lot of quilts that I have in my Etsy shop, so I saved this little square because it's almost the right size for my quilts. I just got to cut it down a little bit. So now that we have that, our next step is going to be to sew our corners. And when I'm making the fitted crib sheets, I like to do something called a French seam. And that's a seam that has no raw edges exposed. So how we're going to do that is we're going to take our fabric, can get it all spread out now. See how when we cut that 8-inch square, now we have these little square pieces on all 4 ends of our fabric. So how we create that French seam is we're going to take our fabric and we're going to fold it. Just fold the corners together where you would cut that square. And we're going to do this with our pretty side out. So usually when you're making a seam, you want to, put your pretty side on the inside, but that's not the case when we're doing a French seam. We're going to have the pretty side of our fabric out so that the seam is going to show at first. So let's start by doing that on all 4 corners. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, so now that I have all 4 of my seams sewn together with the pretty side of my fabric on the outside, I have this rough edge. And a French seam is pretty much hiding that seam. We don't want any rough edges to be exposed in our sheet. So how we're going to do that is we're going to take that pretty side and we're going to flip it inside out. And then we are going to sew again down this line, and essentially what we're doing is we're sewing down along the other seam so that it makes like an enclosure for that rough edge. So we're just going to do that again now. We're going to do that on all 4 seams. We're going to push that seam onto the inside, flip that fabric out, and then just sew 1 more seam straight down. Go ahead. Okay, so here's a close-up of my rough edge. So what I'm doing is I'm going to just flip this inside out. And I'm going to just kind of use my fingers to get that really pressed down. And you can kind of see along this edge here that there's where the other seams rough edges are. So essentially what we're going to do is just sew to enclose that. So here's a close-up of what I'm doing here. And then once we have that sewn and we flip it back over, then we have no seams on this side, well, no raw edges. No raw edges on this side or on the inside. It's all inside of this little enclosure that we made. Okay, so I feel when we have all the seams enclosed like that and no rough edges, that it really creates like a professional sheet. You know, it's not anything that's going to unravel in the wash. It's all in there. It's protected. So now that we have all those seams sewn, the next step is going to be to iron our fabric. Pretty much my guide when I'm making these is the salvage edge of the fabric. So I'll take that piece and I'm going to fold it. And that's going to be all the way around. So we have this one edge that we've already ironed down, and we're just going to fold that up one more time and do the same thing all the way around the sheet. Okay, so now that that's ironed all the way around, I take one single pin, and really this is as a place marker, just so that we don't sew the whole sheet together. We've got to leave a little opening for us to put the elastic. So I just put the pin in kind of across just as a reminder. It's not really holding anything in place. It's just as a reminder to, hey, I need to stop and leave an opening. So we're going to sew all the way around the sheet till we get back to the other side of the pin. Okay, so now that we've sewn all the way around, we are going to get our elastic ready. And I cut the elastic at 64 inches. Okay, so we'll get our elastic and then, where'd they go? Also our jumbo size safety pins. So we'll put one safety pin on each side here. And then we'll find the portion of our sheet that we left open. Okay, and then we'll remove that safety pin. And now this part can be a little tedious because you're just going to have to inch this through the sheet. But I've noticed when you use the jumbo safety pins, it really goes a lot faster. So we'll just push it through. I push it through a little bit and then pull the slack. Okay, so we'll just do this all the way until it pops out on the other side. Okay, so now we have both ends back out of our sheet. Our next step is going to be to get these 2 pieces of elastic, and I overlap them about 2 inches. I overlap them about 2 inches, and then I'm going to sew over the elastic to make it 1 piece. Okay, so here's my 2 pieces of elastic, and I'm just going to overlap them, and then I'm going to sew it to where I'm going to do a straight stitch to hold it in place. Sometimes it likes to get away. Okay, and then once I've got my straight stitch just to kind of hold it in place, then I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. And I'm going to zigzag over it. Because I really want to make sure that this elastic does not come loose, because then you have to, you know, get it to go all the way back through. Plus, if I'm sending this out to someone, I surely don't want them to have to dig the elastic out. So then I do a straight stitch again. And once I have that, I usually pull it a few times, make sure it's really good. And then I'm going to cut off all this excess. And once I have the excess off, it's going to go into that sheet. And I'm going to now just sew over that little piece that we had left open. Now that we've sewn all the way around and we've closed up the seam, I'm going to snip off any spare threads if I find some scissors. Emmy, do you have some scissors for me, love? Okay, well the scissors are missing in action, but you'll snip off all your spare pieces of thread, your leftover pieces of thread, I don't know what they're called, and then you're left with this awesome fitted crib sheet. If you're thinking of ways to package yours, I like to kind of roll mine. I'll show you how I package mine real quick. So I turn the sheet inside out, and I kind of stretch out the corners, and then I fold one corner over the other so that my right side is showing again. Okay, then I kind of straighten it out again. Okay, so I get it like that. It's like a rectangle, square. Then I fold it once, twice, and then after that I just roll it up. And I have some little labels I stick around them, just like that. And there you have it. That's your fitted crib sheet. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be having lots of DIY videos. If there's some sort of craft or sewing project that you want to learn how to do, message us. Let us know in the comments what you want to make. All right, we'll see you next time.